Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Yinzer Brothers podcast. I'm TJ. I'm here with my awesome brother Tim, and we are the Yinzer Bros. We're here today. You know, the season is over, so we're here to talk about a few things. You know, to kind of scratch the itch for the Steeler fans. We're going to talk about the season, how it went. You know, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're going to talk about the draft. There's a lot of buzz right now about quarterbacks, who the Steelers are going to take. Talk about some free agents, and then we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. That Tim, let's just be real. Does anybody care about the Super Bowl this year?
I mean, I got my numbers. I got my squares, so that's all I'm really waiting for. But like, I'm in a zillion of these squares. In 90% of them, my numbers, somehow it's 9. So I'm like, how did this happen?
It's your luck, Tim. It is what it is. I mean, let's just be real. The only thing that I'm happy about the Super Bowl is there's nobody in there that's really dealing with a whole lot of rings. And 2, Tom Brady's not in there either. And I'll be honest with you, I'm starting to feel this way too. It's good to not see Patrick Mahomes in there either.
Why?
He bugs me. I don't know why.
I don't think he bugs you. I think his wife and his brother, like that dude should be given an award every year because of those two.
He bugs me. I don't know what it is. So Tim, let's talk about the Steelers season. How would you grade the Steelers season this year? I mean, how would you put them? Like, did they underachieve? Did they overachieve? Were they right where they should be? Where would you put them?
I mean, wow. Let me put it this way. I mean, as the season went on, I said, you know, I think I kind of said before the season, they're going to start out crappy, then they're going to get dangerous, and they'd be a team to be reckoned with later on. I mean, that obviously just didn't happen. They got their teeth kicked in. But, like, it was – the more you put it in perspective and you watch a team halfway through the year, I think they overachieved. I mean, their quarterback was slinging around a pill that he looked like his arm was made of goo and tomato juice.
You know what he finished up? He ranked 26th out of 32 teams.
I mean, you look back at the broad pit, you're going, this. And the sad part is they say in practice he looked the best out of all 3 of those quarterbacks. What does that say about stupid face and Dewey?
Not a whole lot.
So I think they overachieved. I mean, TJ, and it was so sad because I don't think we talked about that last game. Like, I was at like 97% before game time, and the way that after TJ Watt got that fumble and took it back for a touchdown, I got up and I did the TJ Watt kick in my living room.
Yeah.
And then I blinked and they were down 100. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, they're a quick, straight defense. So talking about them, I mean, let's talk about some of their components. Ben was not the best. I mean, obviously the O-line got a little better, but they what do we do with Zach Banner? What do we do with him?
He's going to have to play at some point because they got, I don't know, TJ. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with him.
They give all this money. They can give us that money, Tim, to do nothing. He does nothing.
I don't know.
I mean, he's
good in the community.
Well, that's great. He can be good in the community and work somewhere else. He doesn't have to be us. And then what do you do to it? What's going on to it? I don't know if Tuit's ever going to play football again.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know, TJ. I don't know. I have no idea. He's I don't think he's playing again, TJ. They haven't heard anything from him. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing from him. Like 0. I mean, nothing. So when you hear nothing from, I don't know. I mean, back in the day, high school, if I liked a girl and I tried to call her, she just didn't call me back. At some point, you get the hint. They just don't want to be with you anymore.
That's true. And I think that's where they're at with him. I think they got to cut their losses. I mean, I don't know what to do. Losing him and losing Alu, that was huge on our defensive front. I mean, there were some bright spots. I mean, what do you think of Najee? I think Najee is going to be good.
Of course, yes, Najee is going to be good. He was running behind, like I said, you said it. He was running behind Goo and and putty, and he looked like a monster, and he had a quarterback that couldn't throw 3 yards. So
no deep threat there.
I mean, I love Ben, but like the more you look back and you look at everything, you're like, holy crap, this dude stunk. And like you feel bad because his line was just. I mean, like I said, you're looking at when you watch like good teams, like when you got to like the wild card games, and you saw some of them good games. You saw like the Kansas City Buffalo game. You saw
That's a great game,
and you're going. The Steelers were like a million miles behind any of these teams.
And yet they beat Buffalo. How did that happen, Tim?
That had to be like, that's like David hitting Goliath with the stone. It just happened, It's you had some type of surprise. It just came out. It was like it was just that. TJ, I mean, trust me, I have no idea because you watched that game and you're kind of going like that's when it first kind of hit in my head like. I've been crying that I want Aaron Rodgers and it's so bad, whatever. Watching that game was the first time I kind of go, dude, I don't think I want Aaron Rodgers because I don't think he can beat Mahomes or Allen or Burrow or even the dude from the Chargers. I just don't think he can beat them. So I'm going to myself, I'm like, there's one guy that I know can do what those guys can do and kind of save you. I just don't know if he raped like 100 women. That's it.
Well, there's just too many allegations. I don't know if he'll ever play any football again either.
I sent a text to somebody that goes, does it make me a bad guy that I am foaming at the mouth that I want Deshaun Watson on this team? Does it make me a terrible human?
There's just too much, man. I don't know.
Can you name another dude? I don't even know if I trust Russell Wilson to beat those guys. Like I trust he's very good at football. And he can run and he can that's it. That's the only guy.
Yeah. Because I mean you won't get that out of Derek Carr.
Because you're gonna
No. I mean Derek Carr's intriguing.
And like I said, he ain't better than he ain't even the best quarterback in his division.
No, he's not. No, he's not at all. He's probably third.
So anyway,
third in the division.
Dig it off, Joe. We'll get to that, but like I said, they're missing they're missing too many pieces, man. You look back at it now, it's like this team has a bunch of holes.
Yeah,
they do. You know what I mean?
It does.
And like their defense, I think the defensive line, you get Tua back, which I don't think is going to happen. It avoids you having to draft somebody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But you get Alawalu back. I hope they bring back that Adams dude because I thought he was half decent at the when they picked him up off the scrap heap. Yeah. And maybe grab a free agent, man. I'm like, Hakeem Nicks, you need that big body in the middle. You need that monster body in the middle.
Yeah, they got to find that big guy. And they need a linebacker too. I mean, they got some guys. They got some good pieces. They got Freiermuth. They've got. I think the defensive backfield wasn't awful. I think they're moving on. They got the edge. I mean, they got good edge rushers. They got to add some depth. We'll see. I'm guessing Taco will come back. I still don't think anybody's going to take him. I think he's a decent rotation guy. I don't know. I'm kind of in the camp. I'm going to be honest with the injuries that they had, and with the performance of Ben, I'm going to put them in the overachiever category because they just weren't that good. Their line they just weren't that good. I mean, I still don't think they were great, but I don't know. So let's shift the conversation now. We talked about their year. Let's talk about some of their needs in the offseason. Now, obviously, the number one glaring need right now that we're talking about is QB. I mean, the words that we're getting out. I mean, you've heard about all the guys. The Steelers were enforced at the Senior Bowl. They're looking at all these guys that are chucking the ball. Did you get a chance to see the Senior Bowl?
I saw clips of it. I watched a lot of like the practices or some of the practices. I saw some of that, some highlights from that stuff. And I mean, I saw Kenny Pickett and his TJ and his mini hand. His
baby hands.
He looks like he has dwarf hands. They're so little. Like I've never seen a man have that small hands. Like his hands are they're baby.
They're baby hands. So here's something funny.
I saw a picture of. They had a picture of Ben and him side by side, like holding the ball, like as they bring it up like that. Like Ben's pictures, like you couldn't barely even see the ball.
Yeah.
With Kenny Pickett, you could barely see his hands on the ball. It was just they were
Baby
it was
hands.
incredible. I was like, this dude's hands, like I don't even think he can palm a tennis ball. His hands are so small.
Well, now I don't know if you saw, like, so the knock on Joe Burrow is he's got small hands too. So his hands measure a 9. Well, listen to this. His hands measure a 9. Kenny Pickett's hands measure an 8.25. So his are smaller than Burrow's, who's are already small.
Which didn't make any sense to me. Like Kenny Pickett was saying something about he didn't want to get his hands measured because he was doing exercises to stretch them out. Like,
well, they said he's double jointed. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? He's double jointed.
Have you ever heard of exercises to stretch out to make your hands bigger?
No, I've not, Tim.
The only thing I've ever heard of, I heard, like, I don't know if it's a folklore that didn't Jordan cut out like some of the webs on his fingers. I don't know. To make them bigger. There's nothing I can think of.
I've never heard of that, Tim. That sounds like something from Ancient Aliens. Are you sure he did that?
I mean, I'm looking at my fingers. If you cut into them a little bit, make your fingers bigger. Dude, I don't. Dude, his hands are so TJ. They're so tiny. Like I don't even think like he could fit. He could fit his whole hand. It's just baby hands. Just baby hands.
So he's one. I mean, obviously they're talking he's going to go, in the first round, probably somewhere. He's accurate, but you're right. You get the baby hands, and then everybody's talking about, the Liberty kid, Malik Willis. What do you think of him? He's got big hands. We'll give that. He's got big hands.
But he's like 6. I think he's 6 foot, 6'1". Small.
He's listed at 6'1". He's like about 220. Dude, he runs a 4.340.
TJ, I understand, but I saw some of his, like, you see some of his college highlights. I know he was playing Liberty with lesser people, and I think he transferred from Auburn. So it's just his accuracy stinks. It stinks.
But I heard so the ball flies off his arm into the opponent's hands.
I've heard it. I heard it jumps off of his hands, which is cool. But you know who else? I mean, it jumps off Lamar's hands too, but he can't throw it to anybody.
That's true.
And like, I get worried about him. Like Pickett, you hear in his interviews when he's on the whiteboard, he's incredible. Which that makes me happy when you're somebody on the whiteboard and they're like, this dude is, very intelligent.
Baby Hands has got great football IQ. Baby Hands has got a good football IQ.
But to me, okay, and then when you hear stuff from Malik, all you hear is like the dude he's just super athletic. He can run. He's fast. You don't hear anything about him being on the whiteboard putting things up. TJ, to me, that's even what you heard about Mahomes. Like when they put him on the whiteboard, when he said he was incredible. To me, I'd almost rather have baby hands and somebody that can break down a defense in 3 seconds than big hands, athletic, and you just don't know if he can. That's Dwayne Haskins' fault thing. You get him on the board, you might as well put me on the board, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, see that guy at single high. I'm worried about him translating it from the whiteboard onto the field because you didn't see enough of it when he was playing in college.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assessment.
I don't know, but I think they're gonna. But I see the way. I mean, Tomlin and the crew were talking to his mom and dad on the field. I mean, you might as well just throw out the red carpet, and unless it's a ginormous smoke screen for something, TJ.
Well, they already know Pickett, though. I mean, Pickett was in their facility. I'm sure they've already talked to Pickett's parents and stuff. So Pickett's already been.
TJ, the way I saw Tomlin's eyes twinkle when he was looking at Malik Willis was just like to. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want. I think they're both going to stink. I really do.
They might.
I think Kenny Pickett's going to be a poor man's what's his name from was it the Jets that went to Carolina? The guy that you were cramming on getting.
Oh,
yeah.
Darnold?
I think Kenny Pickett's be a poor man's Darnold, and I think Malik Willis is going to be. I don't know what the hell he's going to be. I just don't think he's going to be good.
He's going to be a poor man's Murray.
I don't know. I think he's going to be a poor man's Lamar. And that's even like, when I say a poor man, I mean like a super poor man's Lamar. Because he's not as fast as Lamar. He's fast.
Dude,
he's not as fast as Lamar. He's not as big as Lamar.
No.
He's not as big as Lamar.
So you want to hear a fun fact?
He can the ball jumps off his hand like Lamar and is inaccurate just like Lamar.
Do you know who recruited Kenny Pickett to Pitt?
Canada, I know. And TJ, that's another thing we got to get into this thing. I think Mike Tomlin is getting way too much power. I do. I think he's getting way too much power in the organization, dude.
Yeah.
I do. Because I heard the blah, 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 blah on the fan. I mean, it's astonishing. The dude didn't call any, I mean, I didn't call any defenses.
Yeah. He
stripped out of LeBeau the last couple years. Mm-hmm. So Tomlin's been calling this show, and that defense is the last X many playoffs they've been getting into. Their defense has been getting annihilated, and now they promoted Terrell Austin, which was his guy he brought in.
Yep.
Offensive coordinator Matt Canada, his guy. Now they're hiring the receivers coach they brought in. Guess what? Mm-hmm. He was on Canada's staff at NC State. I'm telling you, TJ, it's starting to get, and some of the GM people that they've been bringing in, I have a feeling Tom is getting just way too much power, and it's scaring the hell out of me.
Yeah,
just me. But back to the quarterbacks,
who calls the defense in New England?
I think it's a combination. I think Belichick has his hands in everything.
Belichick calls the defense.
I do.
Who calls the offense in Kansas City?
Eric Bieniemy does something, TJ.
I know, but who calls the plays?
He does something.
Who calls the plays?
I think it's a split.
Who's got the big play sheet? Mr. Walrus going like this.
I saw Bieniemy like that.
I don't think it's uncommon
I think
for a head coach to call an offense or defense. Now they can't call both, but I don't think it's uncommon. I mean, and think about this. I think your defense. You have two at Nalu. The defense jumps 10 spots. Maybe 15. They lost the whole left side of the defensive line. So let's talk about. There's other quarterbacks too.
But I still don't think that's going to help your linebacker play. Sucked.
I do like the idea that they could be bringing somebody like a GM outside the organization. I think that's a good call. I don't think. I mean. What defensive coordinator are you going to bring in? There aren't too many 3-4 defensive coordinators anyway. That's one thing the Steelers stick with. They want to be a 3-4 team.
But Tomlin's decent wasn't a 3-4 when he came from it. He never was a 3-4 guy. He was a 4-3 guy. Mm-hmm. He always had. He was. That's when he came in from Minnesota.
So who do you think's dictating a 3-4 then?
I think it's going to TJ. I don't think I think they run 3-4s, but I think they run combinations of a 4-3. Truthfully, if you look at it, some of the stuff they do with TJ Watt.
I mean, the 3-4, sometimes we think that just deals, well, there's a nose tackle, but the way we use our linebackers exclusively, or outside backers, is really what makes us the 3-4. That's what sets us apart a little bit. We don't just use our guys as just pure edge rushers. They're also in coverage. They're doing stuff like that. So any of the other quarterbacks, did Corral, Ritter, Howell, did anybody else ring your bell?
Well, Corral wasn't there, so you don't know. But he's the wild. I mean, he's a junior, so he's the kind of the wild person about it. Scares the hell out of me that I heard they were looking at Howell a lot too. Yeah. I don't want that dude from night. Dude, he's a poor man's Baker Mayfield. No, don't need that. Don't need none of that in my life.
He is. So then we got to jump then to free agents. Are there any free agents you think they're going to get?
I will. There's one dude that kind of. You hear so much inconsistent stuff about him, but I think he's raw. Was a dude from Cincinnati, that Ritter?
Yeah, Ritter's not bad.
I wouldn't take him in the first round. If you get him like in the third round,
I think he's projected to be
on him.
Yeah, I think he's projected to be a second or third rounder.
He's a big dude.
I think it's
he's athletic.
Mm-hmm. I just don't think the QB class is very
big
good.
Dude. So
I think it's a very weak QB.
No, I think
class.
It stinks.
So that being said,
I
mean, is there? Let's just be realistic. We're probably not getting Rodgers. We're probably not getting Russell Wilson because we're not going to give up that kind of we have too many holes, like you said, to fill. Is there any other mid-level free agent quarterback that you could see plugging in?
I do not want Jimmy Garoppolo. I just TJ don't want him, don't need him, because what you're gonna have to give up to get you may have to give up like a second, third round pick. It's the contract, because you're gonna have to sign him to an extension. Yeah. I do not want him for nothing, and he stinks.
Yeah,
he's not. You can't tell me San Francisco got where they got because of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh no.
The dude threw the ball. The dude threw the ball 15 times a game.
Yeah, he's
and every time he went back to pass, you can't. If you're you couldn't tell me you weren't holding your breath, going, "Oh, here we go."
So who else? You get him off the board. Who else? Is there anybody that you think can be serviceable? That's above, that you could put above Rudolph and your buddy Dwayne.
So what are you talking about? Just as a stopgap, you drafted him?
Yeah, they could draft somebody, like you said, in the second or third round, or maybe they grab Malik or something like that at the end of the first, or maybe they try. I don't know. I mean, is there another quarterback they can bring in to contend? You've got a couple other mid-level guys.
I'll put 2 and 2 together, which I put 2 and 2 together today, and it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, what was your 2 and 2?
Matt Canada was on the North Carolina staff. I think he was the offensive coordinator back in, I don't know when it was, 1918?
1918?
2019. The running back coach we have now was on that staff. Mm-hmm. The wide receiver coach they just hired was on that staff. Mm-hmm. You know the quarterback was that staff? Or was the quarterback when they were on that staff?
No, who was it?
It's the backup for Miami, Jacoby Brissett.
Yes.
That hit me like a ton of bricks today. If they bring this dude in, say this is the guy, I'm going to ram my head through a telephone pole a million times. TJ, I don't know. Like, I hope it's not that dude, but like to me, there's only 2 guys that kind of stick out because he keeps beating quarterback mobility into the ground, which I don't think they're going to be the guys or like that. But it's a stopgap. Trubisky or what's his name from the Raiders, Mariota.
Yeah,
I don't know who else. Do you have any?
Let me ask you a question. This intrigues me. This is intriguing to me, and I'm not saying the Steelers are pursuing here, but what's happening right now in Arizona is very odd.
I would give up, TJ. I would give up all the picks. Give up all the picks for him.
Have you seen what he's done over there? Now again, that
you would have to give up.
Well, just the attitude that scares the crap out of me. He has removed anything from Arizona, from all the social media stuff. He's gotten rid of all the stuff. How did it get there that fast?
He's a little flaky, dude.
That's what makes me nervous.
I think he's on.
He's on what? Is he
I
medicated?
think he's on the last. I think he,
or what?
I think he's on. I think he's on the last year of his deal too, or his another year in his deal. I don't know if he wants more money, and I know he's always want to play baseball. Teacher, I don't know if he wants out, and I would give up 2 first rounders.
Now I gotta say, his playoff performance was pretty awful.
TJ, that offense was so decimated, dude. By the time he got to you take DeAndre Hopkins out of that. He was thrown to AJ Green was his best receiver. AJ Green's 100, TJ.
Well, that's true. That's true. So I'm just saying maybe he might be something that's in the mix too that might be under the radar. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. I could see them maybe even going after Winston. I don't know. Jameis Winston maybe.
I do not.
After him.
I do. Much rather have this guy.
You would rather have stupid face than Jameis Winston.
Yeah, because I think Jameis Winston, he stinks, TJ. He's a TJ, he's a human turnover machine.
He is a turnover machine. But I mean,
I
that's
don't
just
need none of that in my life.
So, Tim, what would happen if actually they give Mason wins out the job, and let's say he turns into let's just say he turns into a top 15 quarterback.
TJ, I've had this conversation with the person. I would still hate his guts tremendously, even if TJ, he could be a top quarterback in the league. I'm still going to hate his guts because his face is so punchable.
It is very punchable. You know,
I've never seen a human being that his chin, he doesn't have it. It covers up his neck. It's unbelievable.
It's very, very odd. You know, he was the only quarterback that did not wish Ben Roethlisberger luck on social media.
Oh, TJ, do you think Ben Roethlisberger? Can you imagine the crap that Ben had him? Ben was probably just pooping in his coffee every day, peeing in his coffee every day.
He probably was.
I mean,
he probably was.
I don't know, man. Like he is just the most punchable face on the planet.
I'm with you. I'm with him.
This dude.
And I know you don't like Dwayne Haskins, but let's just be real. He's a first round QB. He's got the skill set.
TJ. I mean, like I said, I think
you never know.
How many Ohio State quarterbacks have been good?
Not many. Yeah, not many.
I mean, that's a good Jeopardy question for 1,000.
It is. So what are the other needs you think that we could pick up? You know, what do you think from a draft perspective we're looking for? Even for free agents, what do you think we're going to target?
TJ, I saw the one dude from a small school as a tackle during the Senior Bowl I don't know where he's from, one of the smaller schools. He was a tackle. He was a monster. He was throwing dudes around like it was crazy. I liked him. Linderbaum, center.
Yeah.
Like him. I got nervous. I saw a picture of Kendrick Green working out with Pouncey. Did you see it on social media?
I did. I saw that.
Kendrick Green's he's built like me. He's big up top. I looked at his legs. TJ,
he's got
for
chicken
an
legs.
NFL player.
He's got chicken legs.
I'm like, dude. I'm like, no wonder why people were just skating around the field. I was like, his legs look like those. What are the pipe thingies you put in the
pipe cleaners?
The pipeys? Yes. So
he's not very good.
I think they need a center. You get a center.
Yeah.
It's like I said, too. It's the big thing, dude. Like you gotta get if he's not coming back, you gotta address your defensive line. Like I wouldn't be upset if they go offensive line with their first two picks, or offensive line, defensive line.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what they need. Out of anything they do, they need to get at some point in this draft. They need a wide receiver with crap speed.
Yep.
I'm talking crap speed.
Is there anybody coming out like that?
TJ, there's this dude that I saw a highlight of, and I believe he goes to a smaller school, Utah State, I want to say. He's a smaller dude, but TJ, this dude has he doesn't just have crap speed, he has the S word speed. Like, this dude can fly. I saw him, like, I'm seeing him, because one of the people I follow on Twitter, they're kind of like on this dude. I'm like, TJ, when I say speed, I'm talking like Tyreek Hill speed. He's not like built stocky like Tyrell, but the speed, like he caught like a wide receiver screen, TJ, and he looked like the Roadrunner. It was insane. I was like, but the thing was, it kind of impressive. You watched more of him. Like for being such a small dude, I think he was only probably like 5'9", maybe 5'10", if that. Mm-hmm. His catch radius, like he was able to go up and get balls, and he reminded me getting off the line a lot like Deontay.
Yeah,
it wasn't just using his speed; his feet were so quick. But when he got the ball, the dude was just TJ. He was beating dudes by like 20, 30 yards. They said he was clocked at some point as a almost a low 4.3. Dude was electric. I was like, this dude, and he can return punts, I think, too.
Yeah.
It's like this guy has crap.
But we have Ray for that.
TJ, that dude.
He just steals money. He steals money from us, Tim.
I mean, he was getting like 18 balls a game from like week 10 on. Unbelievable.
You think Juju's coming back or is he gone?
No, bye-bye. TJ, great. Thank you for coming back and playing, but Juju, take your talents to somewhere else. I'm done with him. Already down in Dallas, bad-mouthing the Steel. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here. I'm done with his dance and show. Bye-bye.
His TikTok live. Well, why don't we move to the Yinzer mailbag just so we can get rolling through here?
I mean,
we still have to talk about the Super Bowl.
Did you see, like, Claypool actually did have broken hands? Like, he went and got surgery. His hands were broken. Like his one hand, I think he had surgery on his hand.
He did.
So I was like, oh, crap. Maybe what I said, he had broken hands the whole year. I was like, he actually did have broken hands.
How do you feel now, Tim?
I'd trade him.
You could probably get something for him. Yeah.
Trade him.
Well, you got Ray. Why do you need him?
Ray's a free agent, so they actually got to sign him. They bring him back. Oh, good.
I'm with you. Get somebody to take the top off. Let's open the Yinzer mailbag. What's the Yinzer mailbag? It's when you, the fan, get to ask us anything. If you have any questions, which nobody hardly ever does, Tim. But if they did, they could send it to yinzerbros@gmail.com. So let's open up the Yinzer mailbag. Tim, what do you got in the Yinzer mailbag tonight?
I mean, we had a lot of stuff. Like Mush sent in a bunch of stuff like right after the Super Bowl or after they lost, which I'm not even going to get into because it was just I was ready to shoot them.
Yeah.
So he had some reason for yesterday. So we'll look at some of it. He had kind of a Super Bowl preview. We'll get into it later because he asked him your picks for the big game and why. So we'll get into that later. He goes, in retrospect, where does Ben rank in all-time great quarterbacks in the modern era? He's like, so Sid Luckman is off the list, but George Belanda is not. And on the all-time Steeler list, where does he fall?
Where does Ben fall in the
that
all-time?
Other crap, I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Well, I mean,
just put it this way. Where does Ben rank in the all-time great quarterbacks in the modern era? So we're not talking guys when they had leather helmets. I'm talking like modern era.
So you're talking like Montana, Bradshaw, those guys.
I would say probably from what, the 70s on? Is that modern?
70s on? Yeah, it's modern. Yeah, so you're talking Bradshaw, Montana, Starbuck, all those guys. I think he's definitely –
yeah.
Well, I mean, he's got 2 rings. I think he's definitely –
That son of a bitch, Brady. I can't believe he just did what he did to Ben. That son of a bitch.
I know. He can't give him anything, can he? I think I put him.
What a jerk.
He is a jerk. I think I put him in the. Well, I mean, obviously you got to put Brady 1 because of the rings, and then the number. And you could rank them 2 or 3. You got to put Montana and Bradshaw. They're in the top 5 because they each got 4, right? I mean, here you kind of
got to put. I don't know if you.
You do. It was a different game. I don't know if
you're putting Bradshaw.
You have to because it's a different game. If Bradshaw plays where you can't touch him, let me ask you a question: does Brady play till he's 44? If he's playing in the 70s and 80s, absolutely not. They kill him. He's dead. You could destroy the receivers.
I think, but Brady played in that little bit of that era. For his first like 5 years, I think was a little bit in that era. A little bit.
It still wasn't the 70s, though. In the 80s, you could kill people back then. So here's the thing that was different. Like to me, in the 70s, defensive backs.
I don't think Bradshaw.
You could. I mean, again, we're not talking pure stats. And Bradshaw only played. Was it about 10 years? Maybe 11. That's it. But I think if you're talking greatest ones of all time, when the Super Bowl came in, these guys rose, and then you got guys like Manning's got to be in there, right? Peyton's got to be in there somewhere. Elway's got to be in there, right? And if you put Elway in there, Ben, I think Ben's top 10. He's got the rings. He definitely has the stats.
I would agree with you. I think Ben's.
Yeah.
I think he's top 10. It's just. Yeah, it's either top 10 or just sitting maybe right offside top 10.
Well, I mean, who do you put? I mean, you look at a guy like Eli. Eli's got 2 rings, but he doesn't have all the stats.
No.
Look at a guy like Breeze. Breeze has got a ring. He's got all the stats, but only one ring. I think when you start doing combinations of things,
I
Marino
still,
would be great. He's got no rings.
His Breeze's stats is just so much better than Ben's. And I understand he has one less ring. I would still put Breeze above him. Marino's a tricky one, man, because with him, TJ, he almost there's dudes that like revolutionized the game a little bit, and I think Marino did that. So it's tough for me not to put him above those dudes, even though he didn't win a Super Bowl. You didn't see that before he came in the league. You just didn't. What he did was his work was crazy. I mean, how long did his touchdown record stand for?
Oh, it was amazing.
It just some of the stuff he did, he revolutionized the game a little bit. So I still got to put him up there. I put Ben above Bradshaw. I'm sorry, I just do.
Oh, from stat. I think I think he's the best quarterback the Steelers have ever had. I think he beats Bradshaw in that, even though Bradshaw's got 2 rings. But again, it's hard to compare because just the eras are different. They're just different times. But I mean, like, what do you do with a guy like Rivers? He's got stats, but that's it. He couldn't get past anything. You remember when not Sid Luckman came in, but when whatchamacallit came in from the Colts, Andrew Luck, and they already crowned him the next guy. I mean, longevity means something. It's not just on your pure talent. So you look at other guys, it's longevity. It's what you can do to motivate your team to win. You can be the greatest quarterback on the planet. Here's a good thing too. Like, what are you going to do with, you see Matt Stafford jump from Detroit to LA. Mm-hmm. He wins a Super Bowl with LA. His whole stock, as far as good of a QB, let's say he blazes the rest of his career out with the Lions. And he's a decent QB, but does anybody talk about him? He gets a ring with LA.
I think to me, his stats are they're going to be better than Rivers. If you're putting Rivers in, to me, you'd have to put, even if he didn't make the Super Bowl, his stats are just so much better than.
I don't put Rivers in the top 10. I don't think I even put him in the top 15.
I'm top 10. I'm just talking about just being Hall of Fame worthy. But they're just weird guys. But that's like saying, like, what do you do with Aikman? He's got 3 rings. Does he have 4? Does Aikman have 4? Does he deserve to be in the top 10?
They had 3, I believe, back in that area, because they were 2.
Does he deserve?
He won the rings. What were his passing numbers and stuff? I mean, where does he rank with all the passes?
They weren't great. Maybe top 20.
See, top 20s,
top 15.
But the ring. But I mean,
what do you with Favre?
Aikman's going in. There's no doubt in my mind. Aikman's going in. Favre's going to go in because he was
already
an Iron
in.
Man. Oh, Favre.
He's already in.
I know. Yeah.
So is Aikman.
Yes, I mean they have to.
What do you do with Favre?
They have to, because of just, again, when you think of Brett Favre, he was at the top of the food chain for a while, was there for a long time, had longevity, he's got a ring. I mean, there's other guys
Is he top 10?
No, I don't think he's top 10. I put him in. He's probably top 15 or 20, but I don't think he's top 10. I put him above Rivers. I mean, I put him again. You look at who who he is. He's just a better quarterback.
Let me ask you a question. This maybe when he's still playing. Do you put Rodgers in the top 10? I think you have to, right?
I think. Let's see how his body of work ends.
TJ, I mean, that's tough. That's tough because he has 1 ring, and I get it, but he also has like three MVPs.
He does.
So that's a tough thing, and he has the stats to back it up.
How many MVPs?
So it's kind of one of those things. It's like
MVP does nothing to me. You know who else has got an MVP? Or Lamar Jackson. He's got an MVP. Is he a Hall of Famer?
I get it.
But
he doesn't have a ring.
I know. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
He doesn't have I don't think so either. But he doesn't have the rings and he doesn't have the stats.
No. But he's an MVP. I think MVP is weird to me. I think it's more of one. Most MVPs, you're going to be a quarterback if you're going to be an MVP, and I think it's too subjective to. It's just not. I don't think the pure QBs in the positions. It's just weird to me. I don't know. But I think Ben's definitely. I put Ben in the top 10. I think he's probably 10.
I would too.
He's probably 10.
He's either there or he's right outside of it. I mean,
on
the Steelers list,
I think he's number 1 on the list. Yeah. Well, you think of it this way too.
On the Steeler list?
As far as the top
On the Steeler list?
between him or Bradshaw,
I'm talking just all-time Steelers in general.
the greatest Steeler I think that ever lived is still Mean Joe Green. He fundamentally turned it around. So, like, think about this. Like, when they talk about Ben real quick, one thing that Ben did, Ben revolutionized the game with two things. He was almost impossible to tackle, and two, he had the most ridiculous way of extending plays in that pump fake. You hear guys talk about that. Nobody in the league, they'd never seen that before. I mean, name one QB that's ever done that. Usually you get to QB, you drop him, and two, QBs don't throw pump fakes like that. Name one. Nobody like that. The only one that was close to that would do pump fakes every once in a while was Marino, but nothing like Ben. I think Joe Green he's the greatest Steeler that I think ever played.
Where do you put Ben on that list of Steelers?
I put Ben. I think you got Joe Green, and then I think. Well, I'll tell you what, he might be. He might be a number 2, maybe a 3. I mean, Franco's a top 5. Bradshaw's in the top 5.
Franco?
I think he is.
Oh man, you got. I don't know about that, TJ.
When you talk about what they meant for their team, I can't think of a greater running back that the Steelers had than Franco, as far as what they meant for the team.
More than Bettis?
Bettis was great, but he doesn't have. He was different than Franco. Franco was a Steeler his whole life.
Better stats. Bettis was. He was in LA for his first 2 years. Bettis has better stats, and I think TJ, that dude could walk on water in the city.
I think it's a toss-up. I mean, Bettis was just a monster running machine. You got a lot out of when you talked about Harris.
I can't put those. I can't put either one of those two in my top 5.
Well, again,
to me, I agree with you. Joe Green's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, man, who's number 2? It's a toss. To me, it's a toss-up between Mel Blount and Ben. Because Mel Blount changed. He changed
the game. I think Mel Blount. I could see that as a number 2. Yeah, there's no doubt because he did change the game.
You got Ben. To me, I don't know how you're not putting. Troy's got to be up there in your top 5.
Troy's definitely in the top 5. Yeah, he's the best safety. He may be the best safety in football that football's ever seen.
And to me, this is why I don't put Franco or it's either you got. To me, Rod Woodson was so good, TJ. You just don't So to me, he may be the 5. It's either him or Bradshaw's. And you're still leaving out Ham, and you're leaving out Franco, and you're leaving out Bettis. To me, it's like Rod Woodson was really good, TJ.
He was. So the only thing here, again, the difference between Bettis and Franco, and again, you have the pure stats, but again, Franco's got 4 rings. Bettis is 1. I mean, it's just the way that it is. But again, you could make that argument with a bunch of these guys from the 70s. You could just make that argument. Rings mean things. Let me ask you a question. If Brady had everything, the stats that he has now, but 2 rings, 2 Super Bowl rings, would he be the GOAT?
No.
Rings mean things. I mean, they just do. I don't know. I think it's a good question. I think it's good. I think that's good. I would put him a solid.
He's top 5. I mean, but I think you can interchange 2 and 3 with him. Truthfully, it's like to me, just Mel Blount. He just revolutionized the game. That's it, for people to do that. It's just Ben revolutionized the game too. You don't see guys like Josh Allen if it wasn't for Ben.
Yeah.
So it's like it's one of those two. You kind of toss it up, but like Mel Blount was a bad dude, man. He was. You're not even talking about guys like Jack Ham was ridiculous too.
Yeah, and Jack Lambert and all that. But here's the thing, Ben, he was a quarterback. And as a quarterback,
I know
everything flows through you. I would probably put him a solid 2 because he played too long. He steered the franchise too long.
Put it this way: if it wasn't for the way they changed the rules for Mel, because Mel Blount was so dramatic, so it wasn't like a little, they changed the entire huge entire rules because of him.
Oh, they did. He was ahead of his time. Yeah, he was definitely ahead of his time. Cool. What else you
Good
got?
question. Mush, that was a pretty good question there, Mush. He goes, is it safe to say that Benjamin Todd Roethlisberger has no more throws left? I'm pretty confident he has nothing left.
Well, maybe a few with his kids at the house. That's it, but nothing in the NFL.
No, this was okay. Maybe I'll get lucky. He'll adopt me. Me and Dad will have a catch in the backyard. I'm not even going to read his next question because it's so disgusting. It makes me want to spit.
It's about Mason Rudolph?
No, it's about Ben and his next ventures in life. So we're not even going to. I'm not even going to go what he has there. So another good question. Do you think Burrow can be a problem for the Steelers for the next 10 years?
Yes. He's not a problem for the Steelers. He's a problem for the NFL.
TJ, I'm still convinced. It's Cincinnati. Something's gonna happen. Like a piano's gonna fall out of the sky. An anvil's gonna fall out of the sky like the Roadrunner, and it's just gonna crush him. And I'm gonna be like, "What happened to Joe Burrow?" Like, he got hit with the piano walking down Fifth Street.
Good. And you know what's funny?
It's gonna happen.
I'm sorry. I already want to smack him. Him and his little cigar. Go get you a cigar. I just want to smack him in the face.
But TJ, I don't. It's just so sick. It's like, dudes like Brady. I actually like Burrow. I don't think he's a likable DJ. He's a likable dude. Let me change it. He's a likable dude now. Oh, yeah. I think that whole act's gonna go very old. Like when he's beating our heads in for the next 3 years, I'm like, I want this dude dead.
I think he's an arrogant turd. Let me tell you why. And I think when you hear like Cincinnati and all their crap that they talk, you know what? Poop comes downhill, and it comes from the head. And I'm telling you right now, he's mouthy, and he's going to do his thing, and he's going to start trash and do the swag. And you know what? As you know, you get your shots at Super Bowls. You wish they'd come. I mean, ask Dan Marino about this. Oh, he's going to be here every year. Never sniffed a Super Bowl again. All the stars came into alignment for Cincinnati. Injuries, all that stuff. Guess what? Not every year is going to be like that. And you got some stud receivers now, and everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid and stuff like that. It is not going to be like that forever. And I pray to God that we're healthy, strong, and reloaded to be there when that happens. That's great that they beat Cincinnati. Did you think in a million years after watching Cincinnati decimate the Bills that they had a chance against Kansas City?
You mean watching Kansas City?
Did you think Kansas City, did you think Cincinnati had a chance at Kansas City after that?
I did.
And let me ask you, do you put that all on Burrow, or did you watch Mahomes just implode?
Their defense played out of their mind. Cincinnati's defense played ridiculous. I agree. But, dude, TJ, I get what you're saying, but I don't think he's as...
I think he's a turd. That's just me. He can play football, don't get me wrong. And let me ask you, Tim, weren't you a little bit happy that Melvin Ingram didn't quite get to the dance?
That game was like... I didn't know who I wanted to win. Like I don't know if I don't want Cincinnati. I don't know. I
didn't care who won. Didn't bother me. But aren't you happy that Melvin Ingram?
To a point, but he was wrecking shop, and it just made me absolutely furious that we got a 6th round. We just got a 6th round pick for him.
That's fine.
Good God.
That's fine. It is what it is.
I mean, I don't know, Burrow. Yeah, dude, he's gonna.
He's a problem for everybody.
I texted to you when I was. He's gonna be an issue. He's gonna be an issue.
Now but there's one thing we could hold on to, Tim. He does have smaller hands.
That dude, man. It just
he has small hands, but think about this. Pickett's hands. You go from a 9 to an 8 1/4. That's where Pickett's at.
I mean, they look like baby doll hands. My daughter may have bigger hands than him.
She might. Kenny Pickett.
I looked. I'll send you this picture, TJ. It was unbelievable seeing Ben and him. Like TJ, he looked like he could barely grab the back of the football like this. It was insane. I was like, "What is this? How does this dude have these hands? Are just so tiny."
I know.
Like, what can you get hand implants? Can you get finger longers?
Maybe. I don't know. What else you got?
With Ben's departure, is this team now TJ's?
I think this team's Cam Hayward's.
This team cannot be Cam Hayward's. It has to be TJ. It has to be your most expensive player on the team. It has to be TJ.
I think it's by the nature of football, Tim. Who is usually the leader of the football team?
The quarterback, and I get it.
So I think
get it.
Who's got more clout?
I know it ain't gonna be this dude.
No, it's not that TJ can't do it, but I think Cam Hayward he's the heartbeat.
The guy that has 22 and a half sacks in 4 games needs to be kicking people in the teeth.
He could do that, but I mean, let me ask you. Now he's scary. If you were to pick one of the two guys you wouldn't want to see in an alley, would you rather face TJ Watt or Cam Hayward?
That's a tough question, man, because
dude, by the way, did you see his brother?
Is this yeah.
They call him Baby Ironhead.
He'll be a 7th round draft pick of the Steelers because we know how they enjoy brothers. There's 1,000 of them on this team.
Do you remember Ironhead Hayward? He was a freak of nature.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He was a pit guy. My question is this. So go back to if I had it in a dark alley. We talking like Tim when he was like in his
I'm talking Tim 20s? Now. I'm talking Tim at 41, bad shoulders, all the stuff.
Oh man, like to me it's like if I can put this in correlation with like the Wild, getting me against like if I was going against Cam Hayward, like I would think like if it was my 20s, I think I'd pick Cam because I think I could outrun him maybe a little bit. Like now I'm not outrunning anybody, so it's the difference of me getting like pawed to death and eaten to death by a polar bear, or me just getting chased down and pawed and eaten by a lion. It's like those two. So it's like I don't know what would you do if you put a lion and a polar bear in a fight. Whoever wins that fight, whoever loses that fight, that's who I want. That's who I want. Now, whoever loses that fight, that's who I want to see in the dark alley.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's a no-win situation for me. I'm like one of the gazelles, like watching against the water.
Tim, let me just say, I would not put you in the gazelle camp. Maybe the water buffalo camp. Gazelle is a strong comparison, Tim. Graceful, fast.
Like I think Cam would eventually like he's the type of he'd like eventually be like mercy on you. Like TJ, I think when his like switch flips, he just sees red and he just doesn't stop, and he'll be like my body will be dead and he will continue to stomp on it till it goes to the crust of the earth. And just
well, but think about this: which one of those two takes plays off?
I've seen both out of the rotation, but TJ, I mean, my God, TJ Watt is like
Cam doesn't waste the time to even go run off. He's barely out of the rotation. And let's just be real. Cam is pushing large, grown men. There's nothing quick about Cam. It's just.
I agree.
Volcanic
but it's
force.
Like, I mean, it's a heck of a comparison. He's like a ginormous polar bear. The other one's like a lion.
So polar bears are like about 12 foot tall. The polar bear probably wins.
I have a feeling like I could poke Cam in the eyes and get a good run.
Could you jump up that high to poke him in the eyes?
I think either that or something like. But I do expect if I probably kick TJ in the nuts, he may bend over. If I kick Cam in the nuts, he'll just look at me and laugh, and I'll be like, "Here we go." It's one of those things. It's like I don't know, man. That's a tough one.
I think TJ could be the guy. I'm looking at how they're built, and I think he has to grow into leadership a little bit more. I think he's more of like, I'm going to put it on the field, lead on the field that way. Let's just be real. Ben, over the last couple of years, did a little bit better as far as being a vocal, follow me leader. But one of the knocks on Ben was he wasn't that kind of quarterback. So maybe what would the Steelers be like if they bring in a guy, or they have a guy that can actually take the reins and lead them?
That guy's not on the roster right now, TJ.
I agree.
So to me, I don't think that guy's outside of the roster
because
I don't think it's going to
Jacoby
be the Steeler
Brissett's not here yet.
If they bring that dude in, boy, I think Najee is showing signs of it.
Oh, he does. He's
I think he's going to be a line at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
But
and Mika,
holy crap!
I think Mika might be able to walk into that role too. I mean, he just has that same thing too.
He's too laid back when you hear him talk, man. I don't think he's. But then again, I don't know. That just tells me because him and Claypool are getting in fist fights and thinking, and that tells you what type of Claypool must be a real dingling, dude. He must be. How you get Mika seems like one of the most laid back dudes on the planet. Like, get your job done and just if you're getting fights with him, you must be an absolute dingling.
You're probably right. What else you got in the Yinzer mailbag, Tim?
Mark just said, "See you at the draft." That's all he said, and it's just so sad.
That's right.
Because I've been looking at mock drafts every night, every day, like it's the Bible. I'm like, here we go, and it's like.
How great would it be for you if somehow Trubisky kind of trickles into the Steelers thing and he ends up being like an all-pro?
It's not, TJ. That is 100% not going to happen. The hell out of Dodge, that dude. No.
Did I see right? Did the Giants? Did they trade? Did they move Jones?
No,
they didn't move.
They didn't move Daniel Jones. No. Until they get tiny hands.
Tiny hands. All right, that's it for the Yinzer mailbag tonight. Again, if you got any questions, anything you want to ask us, you can email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com, and we'll get your question on the podcast. Okay, Tim, let's talk about.
Picture him waving. Can you picture him eating a Pimani sandwich with them little hands?
The little hands, like a squirrel.
And I'm sure he's had them when he's played at Pitt, but can you? That's like where he's gonna do his thing, and they're gonna take him there anyway. He's gonna take every draft pick there. Him just eat a sandwich named after him, and his hands are just the sandwich is just engulfing his hands. It's gonna be insane.
Maybe they'll make him a small sandwich to make the hands look bigger.
I mean, babies are going to be signing his baby hands.
Baby hands. So, Tim, we got the Super Bowl coming up. Do you have a favorite in the Super Bowl? Who do you think's going to – I mean, who do you want to see win?
Just because he's a Pitt dude, and that's one dude I could see, winning a ring and be like, I want to get the hell out of L.A. and go play for Pittsburgh, would be Aaron Donald, because he just, he bleeds TJ Penn Hills. He bleeds like –
he does.
He bleeds steel and nuclear, just something. How the hell did Pitt not win with all these dudes in the NFL that are on that team?
Idea.
Tyler Boyd was on that team. Connor was on that team.
I have no idea.
Aaron Donald, the greatest. Aaron Donald may go down. He may be the greatest defensive player ever lived.
I know. You're right.
You couldn't win 6 games at Pitt. You got to be kidding me.
It was bad. Yeah, I think I'm pulling for LA too. I mean, you can't hope that Cincinnati wins.
I like Tyler Boyd. He's a knucklehead. He's from Clarion. He's a Pitt dude. But Cincinnati, those fans suck too, man. They're like the Browns. They get good and they think they're rolling the rooster at some point. I'm like, no, dude, stop yourself.
I know.
I mean, like I said, that's why I think, put it this way, I thought Cincinnati would be able to. No, I didn't. I thought after the first 10 minutes, Kansas City was going to beat them by 100. But the more I look at this game, there hasn't been a defensive line that they're going to see like that.
No,
I know, and I know Joe Burrow's Captain Cool, the brother. You got that man child coming after you. You got
Von Miller on the other side.
he looks healthy now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, TJ, I think they're gonna get beat, and I think they're gonna get beat bad.
I think you're right. Well, I mean, Von Miller's not the guy. When has Von Miller ever not been the guy?
TJ, I was watching him coming off some of against San Francisco, and those guys. TJ, he looks like he has jetpacks coming out of his rear end. I was like, what happened? Where did this dude come from? I was like, this dude is. I mean, I know he just, you haven't seen it because he's been hurt. I was like, yeah, that's a problem because you can't. No. What are you going to do? You can't. You got to double down. You got to leave him sing. You're going to get Burrow. And the other guy coming from the outside that LA has is very good too.
Yeah, you're right.
Burrow's going to die unless something goes. The only way, and this is why I may put a bet down on this, I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I can see Cincinnati winning is if Mixon has a crazy day. And he got pretty good odds if you wanted for MVP because it's not typical.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be the only. He needs to go off. If he doesn't go off, I think Cincinnati's going to get destroyed because I think Jalen Ramsey's going to be his fish hook. Jamar Chase is very good. He's very awesome. I think his fish hooks are going to be in that dude.
Yeah.
And I just don't see Mike Hilton covering Cooper Kupp all over the field. I just either him or one of the Eli. That dude's Cooper Kupp. Seeing him, when I see him in the playoffs, I'm like, I've never seen a white dude like this ever in my life.
Not since Chris Collinsworth.
TJ, the dude is like, I'm going, how does this? He doesn't look like he's moving fast, and he's just wide open. I'm like, how does this dude do this?
Well, it's the white person deception. They don't know. They can't see. He's a white guy, so
I don't know if he's thrown like, the old wrestlers and they throw stuff in people's eyes. I hope he's doing that as he's running.
It could be. So, what do you think the score is going to be? Give me your score prediction.
I'm going to say 31-17.
You know what? You want to hear something nuts? That's what I was going to say. 31-17.
And the 31-17 is right in the area where none of my squares will hit at all.
31-17. I think you're right. I think it's where it's going to be.
TJ, I'm in one square where my numbers, I'm not looking this up, TJ, are 2-2 and 8-8. Where I have two different squares where it's 2-2 and 8-8.
How did that happen, Tim?
2-2 and 8-8. There is no. Put it this way: the only way I got a shot at anything, if there's somehow a safety or somebody misses an extra point early in that game, Tim's going to be doing somersaults.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, Tim. I don't know.
It's not.
Well, at least with the Super Bowl, we'll get to. What are you going to make? What are you going to eat during the Super Bowl?
Whatever my fat face can feed into it, whatever. I'm going to be. I don't know. Whatever Melissa decides to make. So probably definitely a little chicken, buffalo chicken dip.
That's good. That's a good call. So I'm going to be watching the game on a 20 by 30 foot 4K screen, and there's a chili cook-off, and they're actually going to be roasting a whole pig.
I heard a lot of people told me, you love cinnamon in your chili. So whoever,
No, that's fake news.
Yep.
That's fake news.
That is 100% fact.
That's fake news. That is fake news. Tim, anything else you'd like to add to the podcast tonight? This is a long one, but we have been on for a while. So.
We haven't been on in 9 years. No, I got nothing. It's TJ. It's gonna come back to Mason. You know it. I know it. We all know it. It's gonna TJ. You know how my head is gonna be all next year.
It's bad.
All next year, TJ.
It's
all
bad.
This hoping 12's coming. All this hoping Russell Wilson's coming.
12.
Kyler Murray's coming. All these TJ. Ain't nobody coming to rescue us.
Tim, obviously Mason did not get the job done today. Obviously, Dwayne should not have been at that bar. Obviously, Kenny Pickett's hands were a little smaller than we anticipated.
I'm glad to hear you make crushed grapes into the crushed wines. I mean, there's going to come a point in time where I was like, this mumbo jumbo just needs. What if he just flips it up and just starts speaking like normal? We're just like, hey, Kenny Pickett has tiny baby hands. Mason Rudolph has a stupid face. That's why he stinks. Dwayne Haskins can't read. That's why he stinks.
So what would happen, Tim, if we drop our podcast and in the comments, Mike Tomlin puts a comment into our comments for the Yinzer Bros?
What's he going to say? You're right.
Well, I'm pretty sure it'll start with obviously. I'm pretty sure whatever, and where it goes from there, I don't know. But it'll probably start with obviously.
If Mike Tomlin's smart, he should be bringing me in for a general manager interview. I'd shake things up.
You'd be a great general manager.
I would be. First thing I do is fire Mike Tomlin. I would fire Mike Tomlin.
All right. Well, guys, thank
Fire
you for
Matt
joining.
Canada. How Matt Canada's still on this. How they retaining that dude?
I don't know. He looks dumb with his hat too. You see those big? That's another thing.
I'm beginning to think. Is it Art?
Yeah.
I'm beginning to think he's smoking the funny cigarettes too, because he doesn't. I don't know if he's watching the same team we're watching.
I don't know.
I don't know if somebody's playing Madden, like they're telling the game's on and it's actually Madden. They're playing the Steelrs running the ball for 150 yards. He's like, we're in great shape. Canada's doing great.
He might be. All right. Once again, I'm TJ. I'm here with my brother. We're the Yinzer Bros. Don't forget, if you like what you hear, pass it along to your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones.
Makes it even worse. Here's the next thing that makes it even worse. They're making us pay early for season tickets because they know. They know.
They know it's going to be bad. All right, we're the Yinzer Bros. Stay classy, Pittsburgh.
Still number one out here.
We'll see you guys next. Bye.